If you are feeling that, most likely various mental health stuff you need to navigate, and that's okay. Like, getting help is okay. Having a therapist, a counselor, someone to talk to, your church, I don't know, whatever you need. You have to make your head a pleasant place to be. And if your head and your heart aren't pleasant to be with, figure out what you need to do to make it enjoyable, because that's where you live.
Hello, and welcome back to the Oracle on Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Leah Dunlap, and today I am joined by Blair Kaplan Venables. I am really excited because Blair is just up into her life. There's so many great things happening. She's the founder of the Global Resilience Project and grief and resilience coach. Blair is a British Columbia-based grief and resilience expert and coach, motivational speaker, and the founder of the Global Resilience Project, which I'm sure she's going to share more about in a moment. Her expertise has been featured on the media platforms like Forbes, TEDx, CBC Radio, Entrepreneur, and Thrive Global. She is named, I love this, the top grief and resilience expert of the year 2020 in the USA. All right, Blair. The other thing I'm going to let you all know is Blair and I talked about this pre-show because I'm already feeling that her guides, my guides, are having a little bit of fun with me. So we're going to give them the room to share in the conversation as well. But I do want to give you the stage right now to talk about your journey and how you became this number one grief coach. Tell us more.
First of all, thank you so much for having me, Leah. And this is such a big question with a very big answer. And I'm honored to be here today to share that. So I didn't think I would be a 39-year-old, sober, childless, parentless birdwatcher living in the middle of British Columbia, Canada. It was not on my vision board, but things got hard for me. And in a very short period of time, and just a content warning, I'm going to talk about some really heavy stuff. And so if you need to pause this and walk away, do what you need to do to take care of your mental health. And if you need help finding resources or professionals in your area or community, please reach out to me and I will help you. And so I'm the daughter of a man who lived with a drug addiction and a child of divorce. And I was very close with my father. When I was 7, my parents divorced. What I didn't know is that my dad developed a bad addiction to cocaine, which turned into injecting needles, to smoking crack. And his addiction got so bad that he couldn't be around our family anymore and he couldn't run his business. But I didn't know any of that. In fact, I thought my dad stopped loving me. He would stop showing up to family functions, tell me he'd be coming to my birthday party and not come. My heart broke. And I grew up with a lot of anger, hate, abandonment issues, anxiety, depression. It was very confusing. In my 20s, I was given the tools I needed to forgive him. And we had the most beautiful conversation. And I decided to accept my dad for who he was and whatever relationship he can give me. Because the burden of all of those other big feelings was just so heavy. And I didn't want to carry it anymore. And I learned that he loved me that entire time. And he began his journey towards sobriety. And we developed a beautiful relationship. He got to walk me down the aisle with my mom at my wedding. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And yeah, I'm really lucky to have had that second chance. But at the end of 2018, we learned he was terminally ill. And so I started sharing our story of his drug addiction, my forgiveness, and our resilience. And the story was inspiring people. It was inspiring people to choose sobriety, get therapy, share their stories, fix relationships. So I said, Dad, we have something really special. What if we gather stories of resilience from around the world and we put them in a book? And we start the book with your story and end it with mine. So when you're no longer here, we can still help people. It was many years. It was about 3.5 years because I navigated a lot of trauma, a lot of grief, a lot of loss, to name a few of the things. This is not an entire list. My husband almost died. We got in a car accident coming home from my grandfather's funeral. And then a few months later, my husband almost died. He had a heart attack and quadruple bypass surgery. And then the pandemic happened. And then we were told we couldn't get pregnant naturally. So we stopped trying. We got pregnant. We miscarried. So 3 weeks after the miscarriage, my father-in-law suddenly died after a 3-week battle with cancer. 3 months after, almost to the day, my mother suddenly died after a 3-week battle with cancer after being told she would be fine. And then my dad died the same year as my mom in the same week, but a year apart. So this whole time, running a PR agency, it's the pandemic. I'm showing up, sharing my stories, how I'm navigating all of this. People started reaching out, wanting support, and I would give advice and whatnot, but I had a lot of healing to do. And so our very first book came out in June 2022. And what I realized was that the Global Resilience Project wasn't just a book, it was a global community where we help people to strengthen their resilience muscles using neuroscience, predominantly storytelling, and that we publish books and we have a podcast and we have a clothing line. And I'm a motivational speaker and a writer. And we are a social enterprise and we partner with organizations to donate time and resources, money. And so I decided after my mom came to me in a dream and told me how proud she was of me, I was getting ready to publish another book in my dream. I woke up and I said, let's do it. So I published a second book and then I published a third book. And now we're working on 2 more books. And so being a grief and resilience expert has been in my life, like it's been in me. Being a coach, it's somewhat newer. Like I was unofficially supporting people, but in an official capacity over the last year. I've really stepped into that, and I only service a few clients at a time because I do give a lot of it to myself, and I'm running a global and movement. So
You have a couple other things going on.
yeah,
Just a
there's
couple.
a few other things going on, but I really love like the work is so fulfilling, and like one of the ways, based on neuroscience, to help you heal is to be of service and help others, and I absolutely love it. And the thing is, like I walked through so much pain and trauma that when someone is in it and I can be that lighthouse in the storm for them or our community, like that's what I'm doing in my life. That's what I want to do. And we aren't going to have kids. And I have the freedom to be of service in this lifetime.
What if you could tap into the law of attraction with precision and power on your terms? I'm Leah Dunlap, and in my audiobook, Power Up the Law of Attraction, I give you the no-fluff blueprint to create a life of purpose, prosperity, and peace. Ready to stop manifesting by accident and start creating with intention? Download Power Up the Law of Attraction now on Audible. Now, back to the show. I love that. I think it's interesting you mention as part of this, the pain into purpose and the purpose in the pain and how so much of that seems to be intertwined. Like the way that you talk about your story with your father in particular, that your vision of what could be possible by sharing that story, I think is something that people who are listening to this now, and of course, we're highlighting this for women founders and entrepreneurs, but women in general who are often left kind of holding that container of
Mhm.
moving people through these traumatic experiences. And as you said, like one after the other, obviously coming at you and through you in your life. What do you see as the factor behind the original impetus to say, like, I'm going to do something with this?
Well, I mean, like I was doing something with it because of the book. Like, I
Mhm.
was realizing that sharing my story was creating a safe space for others to then share their stories with me, and everyone has a story. And so that's how that started. Building a global community in a social enterprise, I wasn't trying to do that. Like, I'm building this plane while I fly it, like I usually do. And I had this one of those like moments where I stopped being in the weeds and I was like, oh my God, look what I have built.
Mm.
And I was just doing it because if I do something and it's helping others and I enjoy doing it, I'm gonna keep doing it, and that's what was happening. And then I looked at all the pieces and I was like, "Oh, this is what I'm doing."
Ah. So in a way, it's a bit of a hindsight and also maybe just kind of a reflection of looking at the experience you're creating and the people you're serving.
Yeah, and it
What
was
is
all
sort
very
of
int it was also very intuitive, like, it was all very intuitive. Is that what you're gonna
I
say?
yeah, I was just gonna go there because I'm like, I think that that's part of it. We, especially as an intuitive myself, that it doesn't always make sense to people from the outside how you
Mhm.
could possibly be doing all of this. And yet, as you're just saying, like there's something that's kind of calling you from inside that this is the right way. This is the next thing to do. How do you allow yourself or what are your tools or practices to kind of hone into that and keep in touch with that kind of level of intuition?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I have ADHD. I'm a late diagnosed adult. I used to think I was impulsive, but really it's intuition. So take that,
Aha.
everyone that says, Blair, you're impulsive. I also live with addiction and I'm sober. So, like, maybe there's a little bit of both. But, like, now if I get an overwhelming sense, like, instead of me just acting on it right away unless I have to, like, I do sit with it and, like, whatnot. But after my mom died, I was doing a lot of really deep healing work, working with plant medicine and guides. And I started to change the way I show up every day and the way I operate. And so, like, I have a 3-hour morning routine. I move my body, I hike, I work out, whatever. I have either a hot tub or a candlelit bath, usually a candlelit bath. I meditate, I pull an oracle card, I use it as a prompt, I journal. And so I'm doing things to be really in tune with myself, my heart and my soul, really asking questions and seeing what guidance I need. And I'm at the very beginning of this spiritual awakening, and I'm gonna be healing and awakening probably the rest of my life. But also, since I've had so many people, like, leave their meat suits, I feel the presence of energy from my parents, from other people
Mhm.
around. And so just become more aware, and being sober, 6 years sober, has been a huge gift because I'm actually, like, able to be deeper and feel deeper, and I'm not numbing.
I think that right there, that's something I think we wanna hit on because she's always highlighting it, is this piece of the story perhaps that other people might relate to, which is the numbing side of whatever it is. As you said,
Yeah.
like, as a person who's dealt with addiction, that there's this thought, there's an idea, of course, that some of that is that numbing,
Mhm.
right? But we also forget that once we kind of step away from that, what's underneath it is that raw, real connection, as you said. I know as a child myself growing up, I was in an environment where my intuitive gift was not understood, right? And I didn't have people in my life that would say like, "Oh, that's because, you're an intuitive." That's not the way it was seen. So I'm curious for you, did you ever, if you kind of like hindsight being 2020, ever look back to when you were younger, having this idea that maybe you were always, and yet you decided, or, the way that you coped with it was kind of to keep it submerged, to keep it down?
Honestly, I don't think I realized I was until everyone died, because I was always told, like, I'm a vintage millennial. I was born in the '80s. Like, I was always told, like, you're being really impulsive. And, like, so that was the story I was telling myself. I also started drinking in high school, and my weekends were about, until like 6 years ago, my weekends were about drinking and, like, how much recovery do you need? Like, a few days isn't enough. And so, like, I honestly don't know. Like, I also had so much trauma as a little girl, like, with what happened with my dad. Like, I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I mostly remember it through photos and image and videos. Like, we have a lot of that. So, unfortunately, I can't answer that because, like, I don't know.
That's interesting. Well, I think it's good for people who are listening to this to say, like, I also like the answer, "I don't know." You don't
Well, I'm
know.
like, I'm
You
not
don't know
gonna
what you don't
pretend.
know.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
BS you. Like, I could tell
Well,
you I've always
you're
been
not.
impulsive. I've
Right.
always been impulsive. It's always been very hard to tell me what to do. Like, if you're, even if I need to do something like the way it's told to me, like, I'm very stubborn in a way. But I know that, like, I've always been like, if there's something I wanna do, it's a full body yes. It's always been a full body F yeah. And, like, it's always been that. And, like, if I wanna do something, nothing is going to stop me. And
Okay.
I know that is to be true.
I love that. Okay. So I have to pause, and I'm pausing because I keep getting this vision of a woman in the kitchen, and I feel like it's probably your man because it keeps flashing up in front of me as you're talking, and every time you start talking, it comes up. I don't know if she's trying to share a message with you about this, but it doesn't. You said 80s, the timing doesn't feel right. So I'm going to tell you what I see, and it may be a message, it may just be something that's coming in, but I literally see kind of like a Betty Crocker style, and I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else. Almost like a June Cleaver kind of esque woman standing in her kitchen making something, cookies or something, and the light is coming through the window behind her, so there's, like, the silhouette. I don't know what she's actually wearing. But it's interesting because every time you're mentioning your childhood, this image pops up. So I don't know whether that's if that relates to you as far as, like, maybe that's an idealized version. It's here in front of me, which usually means it's
Yeah.
something that's, like, present, but,
Yeah,
um
I mean, my mom was a single mom who worked a job and a half to give us a really good life. She wasn't the my sister and I were just talking about this. She wasn't the mom who liked to cook. Like, we were, like, very much like noodle kids, and but my grandparents, I spent a lot of time with both my grandparents and my grandma. My dad's mom is still alive. She's 91, but my mom's mom has passed, and, she was spent a lot of time in the kitchen. She always was in the kitchen, had her nightgown on with her apron, maybe,
Yeah,
like
definitely an aprony kind of feel, like this person
yeah.
is in the kitchen cooking with an apron. That's why I was like, the age range doesn't fit, so maybe these
Yeah,
are
and
grandmas are
maybe it's my
watching
grandma,
mama.
I don't know, I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and so I just knew that I couldn't ask another question because it kept coming up, and
yeah.
it's like, "Okay, well, let's just share that as an image that's coming through for you." The journey that you took and the books that you're working on, I really do wanna talk more about that because I do think it's fascinating that not only, like you said, you started with your own journey with your father, but you're creating this movement and also giving so much voice. So I know we talked a little bit about like this, these aren't just the same book over and over. You're working on some different variations of that. Tell us about like how you've structured these books.
Right. So it first started off as the Global Resilience Project book, and then it moved into a global movement. So we rebranded the book series to Resilient AF Stories of Resilience. And then we just launched in January Resilient AF Stories of Resilience Volume 2. And we are now working on volume 3. And so the way these stories are, it's you get about 1,500 words. It's a beautifully designed coffee table style book where you get to share your story of a challenge and how you overcame it and advice for someone going through something similar, somewhat like a textbook on resilience. And we're also doing another book. So that one comes out in January 2026. So every January. But we're doing a book, a new style book, where it's following a similar concept, but it's called Resilient AF Skin Deep Stories. And what it's going to
Yeah,
do,
we're
it's going to
yeah.
showcase your tattoo and the story of resilience behind the tattoo.
I think that's so beautiful. And I think, of course, obviously with what you're working on, resilience is the through line. The other thing you mentioned, and it got a little highlight as well for me from O, which is during, COVID and the pandemic, there were all kinds of versions of grief and resilience. Do you find that people are still dealing with that and still sharing stories about their journey through that process?
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I
in your
mean, there's so
community.
many different types of grief, and
Mhm.
you get to define what that means for you. And something that might not be a grief for you might be a huge loss and grief for me. And during the
Yeah,
pandemic, there was a lot of that. But we have people sharing stuff from their childhood. We have people sharing stuff from the pandemic. Like we have such a range of stories that come in, and my job is to facilitate the storytelling and create that space for them to share.
yeah. What is the biggest takeaway that you think that the clients or the people that are showing up to share their stories, what is their biggest kind of surprising aha once they put that story out there?
It's very empowering for a lot of people who've never shared their story before. And I've had a few authors continue writing and put out books. And I've even been like, because I am a motivational speaker. I've led workshops where, the Blair, I'm not a writer, to I can't stop filling notepads. Like I'm filling all the notepads. Like, I can't believe this. I'm still writing. This is amazing. And so I think what happens is in our community is we help unlock those things that we don't know. Maybe we put them away
Mm,
in trauma or as a kid. And I help unlock that because we all have stories, lots of stories. And, you know, stories want to be told.
I love it. What is one of your favorite stories that you really feel shows a piece of your resilience? I know you have so much
My
to sh
own stories.
Yes, one of your favorite stories that you really look back now and think, "Wow."
I mean, the fact that I survived all that loss, like in a year and a half ish,
Mhm.
I lost a baby, my father in law, my mom, and my dad. I wasn't suicidal, but like I didn't care if I died. And I was in New York for a part of a book launch from another book I was featured in. And I remember standing in Times Square looking at a billboard that I was on. I was happy, but I couldn't really feel happy, and I was like, "If a bus just hit me right now, like, that'd be okay." Like, living is hard, dying is easy. And
Mm,
I got out of that, and I like, where I am today and how grounded I am, like, this is the most relaxed my nervous system has ever been in my entire life that I can remember, and I have a lot of healing to do, but I'm the most grounded I've ever been, and it's been a lot of work. Um, that's my biggest like, I survived, like, I didn't hit the end button on
yeah,
navigating that because it was any of those losses on their own is very traumatic, and I had them in such a short period of time, in such a weird time in the world, and, like, also so lonely, like,
mm,
my mom died and no one could hug me. No one could come to her funeral, like, it was before the vaccine.
right.
So, yeah, like, everything was just, exasperated and amplified, and yeah, like, I made it through that.
Mm. What do you think what do you I mean, I'm sure there's lots of things, like you said, that helped you make it through that, but what was that first thing that kinda said, "Okay, we're gonna keep going?" Like, what did it
Well,
take?
I was like,
What
I can't do that to my sister." I couldn't do
Ah!
that, you know? Like,
Yeah.
we have this, like my sister runs a project with me, Alana, she's our mental health director, and we have this, like, joke, and we really do believe in tongue in cheek humor and dark humor, but, like, we both kinda have this argument ongoing about who's gonna die first, and I'm like, "I'm gonna die before you, I'm your older sister," and she's like, "No, no, we're gonna die at the same time." But
Holding hands and all, right?
yeah, but, like,
Awesome.
I couldn't have done that. Like, I mean, like,
Yeah.
on purpose dying, to me, I mean, some people who do that, it's not they struggle with their mental health. But I did share my feelings with my sister and a few friends, and they were just like, "You need to go back to the doctor." And I was like, "You're right. I do." So I did, and I got medication. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so brave, even to just share that story with someone else, I think is gonna really help, like, let people know, like, that step, like, saying what you're feeling, saying what you're actually feeling
Well,
is so brave.
it's scary. It was scary to feel
Yeah.
that, and I don't wanna feel that again. Like, listen, I can be very honest. Like, I don't have kids, so I don't feel like this, like, need to live till I'm 80 or 90. I'm living my best life now. I'm living a life I don't wanna retire from. Like, if something does happen, like, I know I'm leaving a legacy. I wanna live a life that if I do die tomorrow, I've accomplished something, but I'm not trying to live till 100. Like, it's been a hard life, like, cool, but I'm not ready to end the game today.
Mhm.
But if you are someone out there feeling that, like, there are professionals out there, there's medication, like, it's not a normal feeling, and if you are feeling that, there's most likely various mental health stuff you need to navigate, and that's okay. Like, getting help is okay. Having a therapist, a counselor, someone to talk to, your church, I don't know, whatever you need, like, you have to make your head a pleasant place to be, and if your head and your heart aren't pleasant to be with, figure out what you need to do to make it enjoyable because, like, that's where you live.
I love that, yes. It is important to be happy in your head and your heart and find ways to get there. Yes, so please, I think, we'll make sure as well as Blair is saying, we'll include places here that we can get you access to support, and of course, reaching out to Blair is an option there. And I think that you're right. It's the more we talk about this, and I'm assuming as well a bit that part of having this out there, having these books out there is just doing that. Is saying like these stories help other people see themselves and where they're at perhaps in a way that will break them through, get them up to go and do something different to make the change. Have you found for yourself as you've gone out and shared these stories and gotten in front of people and done speaking that people are really learning about the process of that need to do better on their own mental health? Is that a big part of it for you?
I think so, but without using those words. Like, this January, I was speaking to a college group, like a week they were like a college group on, like, this weekend retreat, and I had 2 separate girls come up to me after my talk crying, like, "Blair, I also live with anxiety and depression, and you made me know that it's gonna be okay and that I'm going to be okay. Blair, my dad also died, and, like, your story just really brought out so many emotions, like, good ones and sad ones, because I know what you went through, and I'm still going through it because my dad just died." And I think it's just giving people permission to feel, which they have, but but they need to be reminded, like, you can actually feel everything and you don't have to pretend you're okay. And I want people to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a point for you as you're doing all of these that you think you'll be done? Or are you gonna continue to just keep this space open? Is there a next vision for Blair where she's taking this, where she wants it to go? Is there an end? What is that called? A bookend there for you?
Yeah, I say as long as people wanna share their stories and I have joy in this, I will continue to facilitate the storytelling. Where so this August, I'm turning 40, and I see my next decade mostly writing and speaking. That's what I
Mhm.
would like to be doing, like, getting my message out there about resilience and how to strengthen your resilience muscle using neuroscience and letting people know they're gonna be okay and give them the tools they need.
Yeah. So when you are highlighting neuroscience, for those people who are thinking, what does that mean? Can you tell them a little bit about like how do we do that? What are we using? I mean,
Yeah,
I know,
so
but
yeah, I'm not a scientist, by the way. I'm a researcher, but neuroscience is science of the brain.
Mhm.
And there are things that you can do that have been proven by science to do to rewire your brain to be more resilient. And there's lots of different ways you can do it. So, for example, storytelling, there's this phenomenon called neural coupling, which is while I'm sharing my story, your brain is syncing with my brain. And for you, what's happening is that you're developing empathy,
Mm.
and that is required for emotional resilience, empathy. So there's just things that you can do that anyone can do to help rewire your brain so that when life challenges get challenging, when life gets challenging,
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
yeah, your resilience muscle is stronger to carry you through that challenge.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm it's probably too soon to ask, but it's coming through to ask this question, which is, are you at a place do you think you'll ever be at a place where you can look at what happened, especially in that really intense time for you, as maybe not a blessing, but something that really had a good impact in your life in the end?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I really do believe most, not all, but most situations in some capacity in hindsight, a silver lining can be found. And I am also someone where the glass is half full. And would I give everything up in the world to have my parents back? Yes. But that's not happening. So for me, yeah, like it was really traumatic. But would I be doing the work that I'm doing if none of that happened? I don't know. Probably not. So, I mean, I wouldn't use the word blessing, but I can definitely like turn lemons into lemonade or whatever this, saying it,
However they say
right?
that.
Like,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's important too, because I think people I don't wanna whitewash this, as someone might say, but I think that it's hard for people sometimes if they don't decouple the idea that, like, by moving forward or even seeing it in that way, they're somehow dishonoring the
They
pain past.
No, I mean, like, you can choose to sit on the couch and be angry and hate life the rest of your time here, or you can take accountability for the life you have left. And you have to put the work in. Like, I didn't just wake up one day and be like, I'm great. This is what I'm going to do. Like, it all happened like moment by moment, micro step by micro step. And I didn't know what was really in store for me, and I just could tell you that in the, like, grief, like, the bowels of grief, I didn't think I'd ever be okay. Like,
Mm.
I didn't think the pain would ever stop, and so the pain didn't stop, but it's manageable. And I have other things in my life that is layered around the grief, and grief isn't just fully encompassing my life. And I would call my friends who've lost parents, and there's only been a few that in my world. And I was just like, "Ah, like, I can't feel like this anymore. Like, what do I do?" And everyone's answer was, you just need time.
Yes. I love
Yeah.
it. That's so poignant. We just need time. We just need time, and that there is that germination period for all the things we experience
Mhm.
to move through us and to be part of our experience. Well, it feels like we have a full house here, I'll tell you that much right
Okay.
now. So, this is the fun part, of and this is kind of probably a sideways turn, but nonetheless, I do like to give you guys the opportunity as guests on my show to have a conversation or at least a question with O, and as you're talking, actually just a moment ago, feel like a male energy, and they're like, I don't know if your dad was, I say is because they're all still here. I will say politely, like a no holds bar kind of
Oh,
guy.
yep, no, that's him.
Okay. He's definitely here because you said something and I got this kick energetically of like, kind of F off or whatever about like this energy of what you said. And I thought that was interesting. It came through. So I'll share that with you if there's something you guys are speaking about. I think it had something to do with when you were talking about, I think it was around like, would I want them all back? Yeah, of course, right? So, yeah, so this is the chance that you have, whether that's to ask a direct question of those who seem to be floating around us right now, or if there's something you would like to know about what you're creating moving forward. I let you decide which of those energies feels appropriate right now for you to ask a question.
I don't really have any specific questions. I would just love to know what messages maybe
Mhm.
are
Okay.
here for me.
So, like I said, now that I just brought that up and you confirmed it's him, I think what he's trying to say. And this is funny because I don't typically like to curse, so that's why this is me, not him. He's like, just kick ass,
Mm.
Blair." Like, he is giving this energy of, you are doing it, and he's proud of you, but it comes from this really big push of get out there and just do it all. To that, he actually mentions, like, "Yeah, you could stay longer. Don't give up on, like, having a long life. Get out there and do it." He really wants you to, like, just take that, like, that thought you had, and I think that's where that first kick came from. It's like,
Yeah.
"No. You get out there and you live a freaking long life," is the message she's sending you. The grandmother energy, I think she just wanted you to know she was here. It was really sweet. It was like that just felt like really idyllic, energy, and there's nothing left from that. It's already gone away. And then as far as, like, what you're doing right now, I don't know about you and your sister. Always good? Always close?
Yeah.
Okay. So, there's this image that just keeps coming up right here, which would be in the center of your relationship. There is, like, a thick and thin, yin and yangy kind of energy that she's showing your mom. I think it's your mom showing me. Like,
Yeah.
you guys are all, like, stay together, stay honest with each other.
Yeah.
Ah, she just hit the honest button. So, hold on to that. Like, stay honest
Okay.
with each other. Um, you guys are gonna be the best together. So there's some part of this where you guys can eat, and it's you, not your sister. So she's really saying, like, you need to stay honest with her, because you guys really are she keeps doing this, like, really thick and thin, the girls were, like,
Oh, yeah.
thick and thin. So stay with it. Um, I don't know if you guys braided each other's hair.
I used to braid my mom's hair, actually.
Okay, because 'cause I'm seeing, like, somebody with, like, a little girl braiding someone's
So
hair.
as a little girl, I would braid my mom's hair when she would
Okay.
go out. She called me Vidal Sassoon Kaplan.
I love it. So
Yeah.
she just kept showing me, like, a little girl braiding hair. So that's probably just her way of saying that she's here to just cheer you on. But your dad he did not appreciate the idea of you, like, mentioning, like, a shortened life of any kind.
Nope. Sorry,
His
dad.
his goal is, like, you go all the way and you just show them what you got, kid. Like, "You got this." That's his energy that I'm getting from him. Yeah, and your mom just really wants you and your sister to stick together, and that you guys are meant to do that for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any thoughts or any follow-up questions from you about that
No,
insight?
that's
No?
great.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I hope that those memories and those ideas kind of continue to formulate for you and you get some more insights and ahas about that. Let everybody know as we finish up here, how can they find out more about what you're doing, the project, the books, and all of that?
Yeah, head to theglobalresilienceproject.com. Everything is there. On social media, we are Global Resilience Community. And if you want to dive into my world and all the things I'm doing on Instagram, I am Blair from Blairland, and all my links are on my profile there.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching me today, let me know below if you would like to continue to see amazing, amazing women founders and entrepreneurs out there in the world so that we can highlight them more. Subscribe below. And of course, we will get all of the information as well as links to support as needed in this episode. So please, again, Blair's right, stay in pain and stay alone. Reach out to someone that can be there to support you, because ultimately you are here on purpose and we are here to support you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Leah Dunlap, and this is the Oracle on Purpose podcast.